Do you understand the risk that you and your family may be exposed to? If not, this financial freedom video is going to help you understand the type of risk that you and your family are exposed to and how you need to go about mitigating them. So stay locked in. Hi, my name is Carson Graves, certified financial planner and president and CEO of the Retirement Education Center.
And my name is Andrea Graves, Director of Operations at the Retirement Education Center. And we want to thank you for tuning in to our Retirement Education Concepts videos. These videos were created to help to make the difficult and confusing retirement process simple.
Yeah, because with so many retirement strategies out there, so many retirement concepts, and of course with so many retirement products, it can become very difficult for consumers to digest it all. That's why we're so fortunate that we work with a team of expert advisors to help us build a financial roadmap that's going to let our clients know when, where, and how they can reach their retirement goals.
For additional concepts on how to maximize your retirement, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when we upload new videos. Now, Carson, risk can never be fully avoided, so there are ways to eliminate or reduce risk, right?
Thankfully, it is. Just like inflation, we know that risk is going to always be around us and be with us. I've even heard some high risk takers go so far as to say just getting out of bed is a risk. And so why not just go jump off a building? I think that's a pretty big leap. But nevertheless, they are correct. It is a risk just getting out of bed in the morning because you can literally trip over a shoe and fall and break your arm or bump your head. Heck, I can tell you I've almost done it many times. But I can say this, just knowing that there is a risk is half the battle, because you have to know how to avoid it or mitigate that risk. And so that's what we're going to cover today. But before we get into that, there are 2 rules to retirement income that we like to give you. And Andrew, what are those 2 rules?
Well, rule number 1 is to never run out of money. And rule number 2 is to never forget rule number 1.
So let's go ahead and jump into our lesson today and talk about how you can avoid some of the major risks in your life, like getting out of bed.
Now, Carson, let's first focus on personal risk exposures that could lead to financial loss.
Yeah, the personal risk exposures are important. And I'm going to look at 3 things that you have to look at when it comes to your personal risk. The first thing we want to talk about is poor health, Andrew. We talk about this a lot. And I want people to really understand out there that when we're talking about poor health, we're not trying to pile on. We're not trying to make fun of anyone. Because we all know that there are many times that people are born with certain health conditions, right? You cannot avoid getting cancer sometimes. You may have type 1 diabetes. You were born with it. Maybe you have a certain blood disease or allergies. So sometimes there are things that we have that are conditioned within our bodies that we just really didn't have a choice over. So I don't ever want anyone to feel down about having poor health when it was something completely out of their control. But we all know that there are things that we can control, right? We know that we can control our weight. We don't have to be obese if we decide that we can do better dieting. Maybe we can avoid the cancer if we're not smoking and drinking as much. So these are things that we have to think about when we're trying to avoid poor health. Another thing to think about when it comes to poor health is that you can play defense as well. Because before you actually have any type of health condition and you're actually healthy, maybe you can think about getting the proper amount of disability insurance or life insurance, or making sure that your health insurance is okay. So these are definitely some things that you want to do to be proactive in order to make sure that you can mitigate the risks that may come along from having poor health or developing poor health. Another major risk exposure that you have to be aware of that we typically don't like to think about is death, dying too soon. This is a major risk factor that many households face, and so therefore you have to know that there's a very, very easy way to mitigate this particular risk factor. Now, I've already mentioned one way, and that's just having life insurance. Making sure that you have the type of life insurance that's going to protect your family. Secondly, you need to take a look at getting a will or trust completed. We can help our clients do this when they've done their financial planning with us. But you need to make sure that your will and or your trust is aligned properly so that the assets that you have will be able to go to the people that you want them to go to, and there are no fights or no probate issues that they're going to have to face. And the third risk exposure that I want you to completely understand now is that living longer can be a problem. When you're living longer, you have the risk of running out of money before you run out of breath, and you actually risk getting into maybe a long-term care situation. We know that studies show that 7 out of 10 people at some point in their life would need some type of long-term care. So it will absolutely be to your benefit to start looking into a long-term care policy. It will also be in your benefit to understand how to maximize your Social Security benefits so you can make sure that you have all of the long-term income that you're going to need from that particular program. And last but not least, you also need to make sure you look into annuities, because annuities are going to be another safekeep that's going to make sure that you can have income for the rest of your life.
Okay, Carson, another risk that you have is property risk. So could you tell us more about what they should look out for here?
Yeah, we all know about property risk. You know, if you own a home or if you own a car, Andrea, we all have to have insurance on those properties so we can protect ourselves and, of course, protect others as well. That's very common, and so most people by default, they're made to have homeowners insurance and they're made to have car insurance for the most part. Because it's going to protect the other person and yourself. But I want to take it from a different angle. The angle I want to take it from is the financial side of things when it comes to your personal household. See, anytime you have taken on home ownership or owning anything like a car, there are going to be costs associated with these assets that you may not be aware of. So when it comes to your home, many things can happen, right? You know, you can have an AC unit go out. You may have to repair the roof. You may have a flooding in your home. So here, you got to really make sure that you sit down with your property and casualty insurance agent to understand what your policy is really going to do in these situations, because you do not want to end up having to come out of pocket to pay for these types of expenses. Another thing that you really want to examine when it comes to maybe your car, especially if you're going to buy a used car, look at getting that extended warranty. I can tell you personally, that's going to be worth its weight in gold if something happens to that car. So you don't want to shortchange yourself on one side of the equation of your finances just to end up having it cost you double or triple down the road. One other thing that you really need to focus on as well when it comes to accumulating any of these assets is that you want to maintain a proper and healthy debt to income ratio. I always recommend to any of my clients that 36% and below, really lower, will be a healthy debt to income ratio that you can have, so that if anything were to happen, you would have been able to save a little bit of money and have a cushion to pay for some of those expenses that are unexpected. So the moral of this financial freedom video today, when it comes to risk and mitigating or reducing it, is to make sure that you examine everything that you're doing and have the proper type of insurance in place to protect you.
Carson, this was very helpful, so thank you for your insight on this topic, and thank you for watching. And if you felt this information was beneficial, please like this video and share with others.
Please note that these videos are created for educational purposes only, and that you should always seek out your own financial advisor and your own tax advisor and attorney regarding your personal situation. Also, if you are looking for a fiduciary financial advisor to help you with these types of complex financial matters, we highly recommend that you utilize the links in our description below and go ahead and schedule a 1-hour free consultation with us today.
After this video, please check out our other videos that will give you tips on how to maximize your retirement. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you have questions,
we have answers.